Hello, legends. So usually I'm apologising, aren't I, if I say that, perhaps today's title and thumbnail is a little bit on the clicky side. Today, I'm not joking. Have a look at this. This is my brother, my fellow Royal Marines Commando, Jamie Michael, and he's in the Telegraph today. The headline is "Right-wingers branded danger to children. Safeguarding concerns being used to silence people who speak out over illegal immigration." A former Royal Marine has been banned from working with children after he protested against illegal migrants. Free speech campaigners said spurious safeguarding concerns were increasingly being deployed to silence people with patriotic views in a scandalous abuse of the system. One campaign group has identified more than a dozen cases in which laws intended to keep children safe from harm from adults are being used to crack down on right-wing views. Concerns have intensified over the treatment of Jamie Michael, an Iraq war veteran who has been barred from coaching his daughter's football team. His plight also threatens to increase tensions between London and Washington following repeated warnings from Donald Trump's administration that free speech is being eroded under Sir Keir Starmer's premiership. Is it just me, or does anyone out there wish the Americans would invade at this moment in time? The only trouble is they're subject to a whole load of BS on their side of the Atlantic, aren't they? So, yes, you heard it here first, folks. Like and subscribe, and while you do that, let's get ready to get into it. Yes. Oh, we've gone a bit purple. Oh, we're back. There we go. How are you doing, friends? I'm Chris Thrall. As I said, I'm a former Royal Marines Commando, and now my job is kind of twofold. I am enlightening people as to the cabal, let's call them, while simultaneously encouraging you to walk the path of enlightenment, because it's a good place to be. And on that note, if you're struggling at the moment, maybe you woke up this morning and today wasn't the way that you would hope it to be. Maybe you're suffering bereavement, or work's not going too well, or you're in pain, or you're suffering financially. Just remember, these are the times you got to believe in your special dream the most. I love you. My crew loves you, and all of these wonderful people watching now, certainly my regulars, they love you. Remember, you're born a legend, you die a legend. Just remember you're a legend in between. And if you do the things that I explain on this show, I will see you in paradise, brothers and sisters. Absolutely. Right, let's get into it. I just want to quick flick through everything. Just a quick shout to say we still have... Where is it? That's unusual. Sorry, this got a bit lost. We've still got some places on our Arctic Legends trip. If you want to come up to the Arctic Circle with me and my team of former Royal Marines Commandos, there they are. Very, very nice guys, folks. We are not going to shout at you, I promise. It's not like that, but we'll be staying in this exquisite outdoor centre up there in the Arctic Circle, and we will be skiing just like this with our backpacks on from cabin to cabin through the pristine wilderness. Don't worry, we will teach you how to ski. We'll teach you how to survive up there if you're brave and you'd like to. We'll show you how you go through the ice and then recover yourself. It's a fantastic week of fun, healing, spirituality, and a good bit of male bonding, especially in that sauna. So send me a message, folks. My emails are on my website. Please don't say what's your website. It's like that's where you have to type my name into a search engine and do, just a little bit of work yourself. Or you can, there it is. You can go to that one. It'd be great to see you. We got, I think we got 2 places left, folks. So don't linger. And I promise if you reply to this, we will fit you in. Okay, right. Cracking on. So that was Jamie Michael. What's happening here, folks, is it's not so much, that there's the cabal are putting these measurements in place to stop patriots teaching children how to play soccer. It's the fact that the combined their combined methods of grinding people down, of keeping people in what's known in Eastern mysticism, which is what this lot works off, in their lower self, their lower animal self. That is living in fear. Fear of what your boss says, fear of not being able to pay the mortgage, fear of, I wonder what people will think of me, fear of, if I don't do this, I won't get that next job. And what's happened, it's just created an absolute sissy culture full of wet weekends that can't stand up to a wet paper bag. So this would have gone to the local safeguarding meeting. They would have all ummed and ahed from their, privileged white middle class education. So just give you an idea, I studied social sciences up until master's degree. My master's was in social work. I didn't get to the end of it for reasons I won't bore you with now. But to get on a master's degree in social work, and remember, these are individuals that decide whether they're going to take your children off you. You need, a degree in the violin. I'm not taking the you-know-what. Some of our class, they were music students. What else could you have been? A Japanese major. Yes, you heard me right. There were people studying at master's degree level for the job of social work, which amongst other things is child protection. And I've been in many child protection meetings as a professional. And you got people in there that literally have no clue about life. They just thought, I'll try my hand at social work, and voila, they get put on a course. So they're in this room together with other professionals, and none of them want to be seen to be the odd one out or to actually be doing the right thing. Then on top of that, the university system is indoctrination. Remember, cabal, the merchant class, they've controlled everything for the last 400 years. They have this liberal mind, they instill this liberal mindset in people that genuinely makes them think, well, hang on, the best way to be kind to third world, excuse my French here, folks, but third world shitholes is let's invite them all here and turn our country into a third world hole. And they don't understand why that's not going to work. And anyone that goes against that is then ostracized and called, totalitarian, fascist, whatever the case may be. The old Nazi one's a big one as well, isn't it? So that's what Jamie would have been up against, folks. It's people governing themselves out of a fear-based narrative. Right. Could we get some likes and subscribe, friends? As you're probably gathering now, it's definitely worth subscribing, because we're not doom and gloom, folks. I'm telling you this. This is what's going on. This is how they're controlling you. They don't control me. Well, to a degree, we're all shackled to a certain extent, aren't we? But what I mean is, when I was in the gym this morning, sorry, I had to come back in the room then. Yes, I do breathing in the gym, folks. It's great doing weights and all that kind of thing, but it doesn't enlighten you, does it? What I did there is I brought myself into my upper nature. As those of you that like all the religious stuff, there was a guy called Jesus. What did he say? He said you had to go into the upper room and sit at the right-hand side of my Father. That's just allegory, folks, for raising your energy out of the cesspit and all the things down there that get you in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Your feet walk you into trouble, don't they? Your hands pull you up out of it. Get your energy into your upper self, focus it on the pineal and the pituitary, which you can do through breathing, and bang, you access that right hemisphere of the brain and you rise above all of this blimmin' nonsense that I'm talking about now. But if I don't talk about the nonsense, first of all, we don't fish in a lot of people out there who are, wandering and lost with all of this. Secondly, I can't help you. So please like and subscribe. You absolute massive legends, you. Right, let's get on. What's this guy talking about? Give it a bit of a refresh.
Of arrest for online comments in 2023. Hungary is at 10. Okay, you know what? Maybe it was like a death threat, right? You made a death threat on someone, you were arrested. Okay, Azerbaijan, which is probably not the most democratic country, is 13. Saudi Arabia, which is definitely not the most democratic country, is at 15.
Okay, I'll cut that short. I'm not here to patronise you. Basically, the guy's calling out countries who have arrested people for social media posts. The worst countries in the world where they put people to death, for like showing their legs. So that would be what, Saudi Arabia. I don't know if that's exactly what they do there, but you understand what I'm saying. They arrested, what did the guy say, like five people in a year for social media posts. Azerbaijan, they arrested like 3 people, and they was probably militant, threatening to do something to someone's neck and separate bits of their body, right? Three. The UK, 12,800. you heard that. And yeah, it's, I think, remember, folks, it will come back to haunt them. Everything goes through cycles. The maniacs, they've had it too good, too long with their, medical narrative and their hooky, let's just wage war on anybody that we want narratives. The pendulum will swing back, believe me. This is another thing that's red flagging everyone. These bizarre cloud patterns after the old you-know-whats go over. I've only put this here to say, to highlight the good news is finally everyone's starting to realise it. A lot of the old school, the kind of people that were not so awake, they thought this was condensation coming out of the planes. And it's been pointed out to them that, well, planes have always been here. But these skies haven't. This is a relatively new thing that's been predominantly in the last 20 years and getting worse and worse. The reason I've put this up for our conversation today, friends, is, it's interesting. And I'm not I'm not chucking all my chips on one square here, because I don't personally, I'd find it doubtful that every single 747 has been in a workshop, had these, pumps, aerosol pumps fitted to it, and then goes in for refilling before every single flight, or the guy rocks up on the apron and says, right, just putting in the chemtrail, the barium, right, topping up with aluminium. What I'm getting at is I think this is something far more fuel related. Something in the fuel is causing this. And I'd love to have your thoughts. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I don't think the flight 243 flying into Ireland from Ibiza is really massively part of a global conspiracy. And my buddy, who was supposed to row the Atlantic with me, remember he was in Craig's boat, Craig, who committed suicide, he actually works for the people that get the most amount of flack for this, because they've got an aerial spraying air force, a fleet of aeroplanes. And he said they quite often gets phone calls from people going, you're spraying, you can take, 32 tons of spray on board and honestly, I've chatted with a guy, former Royal Marines commander, lovely bloke. He's like, Chris, honestly, I can assure you we're not doing that. We're just absolutely not doing that. We've just got planes that have the ability, if there's an oil leak, say in the, off the East Coast, our planes can get the relative anti-detergent type or detergent and go out there and literally sort of, smash this thing. So let me know your thoughts. But either way, it's not right, is it? It's not right that we lose all of our summers on top of having these horrifically wet and miserable winters, that when the people should get their holidays and get some nice time off and get some proper vitamin D, they're doing this. Fortunately, all the sleepy ones are starting to wake up to it, aren't they? Let me know your thoughts below, folks. What have we got here? Well, Tesla was selling electric cars. A company, it's criminal, isn't it, that they've used the name Tesla, a guy that was probably would be absolutely anti the New World Order. But whilst Tesla was selling electric cars as part of the smart grid program, folks, a smart part of 15-minute cities, 24/7 surveillance. They want to ban log burners now because you can get fuel. Oh yeah, for free for them. They want to be able to monitor you, every single thing you do, and then link it in with the credit system. So it'll be, Mr. Thrall, you're not getting your your allocation of electricity for your heating this week because you were at a protest in London last week, were you not? And it's yes, big brother, I'm truly sorry. But this article saying that a company has already come up with a different solution, fuel without petroleum. A new startup just unveiled has a compact machine that quietly turns air into real gasoline. No oil, no drilling, no engine upgrades. Backed by major investors and already functional, this disruptive tech could flip the clean energy debate on its head. Gosh, I hope so. Because as much as, we don't really believe in a climate narrative, do we? You still don't want to pollute the planet or dig all of the planet up or remove its natural shock absorbers, i.e. the oil. So this is the machine that's said to do it. It's designed for drop-in use with today's standard engines. I wonder if it will be free. Moving on. The moon landings are getting massive coverage. I think this is... Let's have a look at this one. I should say...
In the press conference, clearly says we couldn't see any stars. We couldn't see any stars.
We were never able to see stars from the lunar surface or on the daylight side of the moon by eye without looking through the optics. I don't recall during the period of time that we were photographing the sonar corolla what stars we could see.
I don't remember seeing any.
Then in his own book, which I think he wrote in 1994, he talks about how magnificent the stars were.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
okay, stop it there. Woo! Sorry, hit the wrong button. Isn't it interesting how Joe was massively anti the Apollo? Isn't Apollo the deceiver? Isn't that his Greek god kind of moniker? Apollo the deceiver? I think it is. Could somebody look that up and let me know in the comments, and I'll come and answer you. Not the live chat, but the comments below the video, and I'll come and reply to you if I can find your comment. I promise. But do you remember when he used to talk about this when Joe Rogan show was like the thing to watch because it was just open house on everything, like JFK assassination, moon landings, plus an awful lot of good stuff, like he talked to Navy SEALs that swam from Hawaii to Oahu, like punching sharks on the way. And then suddenly there was that change, wasn't there, where when he became so huge, and just before he was sort of corporatized with, was it Spotify, his deal, he just said, someone said to him in a podcast, "So Joe, yeah, you don't believe the moon landings?" He went, "Nope, I've never said that. It was a gardener at my house that he just came out with all this sort of stuff, and I thought, it was something like that, folks. Don't quote me." And to be honest with Joe, you can't blame the guy. He's got a family and children. You can't, talk about cabal central. I don't know if you know the history of the reason NASA was started wasn't because we can get rockets into space. It was because we couldn't. There's a chap called Jack Parsons who started a laboratory way back when called JPR, Jack Parsons Rockets, or someone's going to correct me on that. And he was out there in the Mojave Desert in California, and they couldn't get a rocket into space, just no matter how hard they tried. And so what they did is they went to the occult. They started to practice sex drug magic under a chap called Aleister Crowley, who headed an organization called Thelema. And they had lodges out there in California, in Los Angeles, or whichever suburb they lived in, where they would all, just get it on in this massive kind of orgy. And, this is at the same time as you've got people fleeing Germany, the pornographers, aka the merchants, who started their Nickelodeon cinema, which is where they were just peddling smut. They came under a lot of competition in New York from companies like Edison and Kodak, who provided the film and the light bulbs and this kind of thing. And still to this day, the logo for Nickelodeon, you can see this when you go to your cinema, and it's in between show-ins, is still the Eye of Saturn, the one-eyed symbolism of the cult of Saturn. So you've got these occultists fled out west. They said, right, let's go out west and we'll start our own film studios, and we'll call it, what's that one that we use to cut the air and let the evil spirits through? Oh yeah, the Hollywood. Yeah, we'll call it the Hollywood because we're going to do magic on people. We're going to hold them in trance. We're going to use our photons as dark angels. So photons in scripture referred to as angels, but we know that as angels, is just packets of information from source. Packets of information. But of course, where do most people, and if this is you, I'm going to slap you on the wrist, non-physically. It's a metaphysical slap on the wrist, or a hyper-physical. It's from the television, isn't it? It's from the black brainwashing box. That's sending photons. That's sending packets of light into you. And what does the TV do? It changes the frequency of your brain. Remember, you've got alpha, beta, theta, delta. And if you can get people in the right frequency, which your brain naturally falls into when you're watching telly, then you're susceptible to brainwashing, which is what the television set does. Do you remember the subliminal adverts they used to slip in the background? And it was just like 1 or 2 frames. And it was so quick, you couldn't physically see it. Although sometimes you could sort of say, hey, what was that? But subliminally, they'd be clipping in, adverts for cigarettes or porn pictures or this sort of thing. So right at the time that these pornographers set up camp, the ones escaping Germany and New York, they set up camp out west. You had Jack Parsons' rockets out there, and he's gone to the occult. So you've got one load of occultists, all schooled in like Kabbalah and this kind of thing. Then you've got Jack Parsons, schooled in Thelema. And there you go. Hey-ho. That's why the NASA program has massive Masonic overtones, but we won't go into that now. But yeah. So there was Joe talking all about it and getting massive coverage, and suddenly his podcast hit 3 million subscribers, which is nothing now, is it, for a podcast? But back then it was huge, and I think he had to sort of rein it in a bit. Let's watch a little bit more.
Oh, first of all, fuckface, you weren't even supposed to be on the moon. Okay, you were up there. They were on the moon. Like, did you forget? Like, what? I don't recall seeing these.
Serious question. Is it really respectful to refer to an astronaut as fuckface? Surely the respectable term would be fuck helmet. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Stars? Well, you're in the fucking thing. Get your remember the script. You're in the thing, on the ground. The intersecting shadows, people like to try to dismiss them. They say, oh, well, it could be because of the topography, and it could also be more than one light source, and that's more likely. When you got a shadow going like this and a shadow going like that, well, we know we went to the moon, so let's come up with another explanation. Let's not assume we went to the moon, and let's look at that and say, is that the sun?
Okay. Oh, sorry, I did it again. So if you listen on headphones, I apologize for that. Good lesson here, folks. If you cannot physically possibly get it into your head that there's a significant argument here that man has never been to the moon, you're what's called a left brain. You're operating from left brain programming. If you can say at the very least, do you know what? Kind of, my jury's at least out on that, Chris, or I kind of have my suspicions. That means your right hemisphere of your brain. That means you've accessed the, you've gone past the indoctrinated program part of our very ancient brains, and you've entered the rational, kind, empathic, logical side of the brain, which we're gonna come on to more. So here's another one. I won't play all of it, but this is Buzz Aldrin. If there was ever any doubt of someone's an astronaut's credibility. I think Buzz has kind of kicked it out the park. I think when he started wearing 2 wristwatches, it was a bit of a flag.
Buzz Aldrin, the famous astronaut who was on the moon, was trying to tell us that the moon landing was fake the whole time. Just watch this video.
What was the scariest moment of the journey?
Scariest. It didn't happen. It could have been scary.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened.
I remember my parents waking me up, and we went down and we watched you guys land on the moon.
No,
which
you didn't.
was
No, you didn't.
what?
You watched animation. So you associated what you saw with...
I have very hazy memory.
Not a bad line. Not
Okay, so I'm just going to come here on the side of rationality. It's been quite well clipped, I think, those interviews. I don't think he's necessarily saying we didn't go to the moon. I thought I'd highlight it because I think that's a great example of when things, you know, conspiracy theorists take things out of context to make it kind of fit a narrative. I'm not suggesting that the guy's been to the moon. But what I am saying is, I think with these astronauts, I think that in their minds, they genuinely believe they have. Whether that's some sort of MK Ultra or whether that's literally just that you so much have to live that role to carry it off, who knows? But I think you got a lot more convincing of a lot of the public to do that you can, you know, hop in a tin can, chuck some fossil fuel in it, rocket off, get out of the Earth's enormous atmosphere, get past gravity, and then travel across 269,000 miles of uncharted territory in terms of all of the physics, and then say, hey, Mikey boy, right, what's going to happen is you're going to put this thing in orbit, yeah, around that. You see that moon there? Right, we want you to, like, just drive around it for, like, 3 days, yeah? Me and Buzz here, we're going to jump in that heap of shit, you know, that thing that looks like a homeless shelter. Yeah, we're going to, like, jump in that, and then we're going to, you know, go for a day trip. And Mikey's like, fellas, what are you going to do when you get there? Are you, like, serious scientific study? No, screw that. We're going to, you know, play golf and fall over. Oh, and didn't we tell you we're going to take the car for a spin, because in that rubbish homeless shelter thing, there's a car in there too. Yes, I know it was a different mission, but you get my point. And then the brilliance of this mission that's never ever happened before in human history is they're going to power off back up from the moon after spending 3 days of pissing and shitting in a spacesuit and drinking fizzy orange through a straw. They're going to power off. The homeless shelter is going to separate, and then they're going to meet Mikey boy up there on one of his orbits. And then they get back safely. I don't know. You got a bit of selling. I think you got a bit of selling for me to do on that one. Right, this one's about a certain medical thing. Was there an agenda? Do we think there was an agenda? Let's see what this is saying.
Unvaccinated and the virus comes into your community, the virus will hunt you out. The virus hunts down the unvaccinated.
The virus will find the unvaccinated. That's what they all say.
And it's a virus that will find you if you're not vaccinated.
If you're unvaccinated, it will find you.
The virus is literally finding unvaccinated people.
It will find the unvaccinated.
We're seeing COVID-19 tracking down unvaccinated people.
You know, if you're unvaccinated and you're in circulation, you're going to get it.
Well, the Delta.
Yeah. Kind of circulation is that, Tony? Is that the local gents' lavatories? What was I saying? Yeah. Friends, life's really simple. Once you stop looking outside of you and blaming other people for your welfare, it just becomes so much easier. Once you understand, I know I'm saying this a lot lately, but once you understand you have a pH balance. All living entities have a pH balance, and you can't screw with it, whether you like to or not, whether you think you can play God, you can't. Yours is 7.25 to 7.45, and that's an average fluctuating throughout the year, depending on, what your food source is at the time. If you go outside of that, by eating a Western, which is now a global diet of carbohydrate is high on the glycemic index. That means that you're flooding your bloodstream with glucose, which is a form of sugar. What does sugar do? It's corrosive, isn't it? It's acidic. And when your body becomes too acidic from these lifestyle choices of rice and, meat and pasta and chips and chips and chips and more rice and chips and potatoes and chips are do you get what I'm saying? No, you're just flooding your body with acid, and eventually your cells say, look, we can't do this anymore. Either we die and we start maladapting, which is tumors, folks, is what I'm trying to say, or we have to give you a massive detox. And when you have 30 trillion cells all vibrating at a certain resonancy at the same time, trying to cleanse you of this acid, guess what? You're a shivering, sweating, gibbery mess. And okay, very simple to understand. But of course, this knowledge has been hidden from us our whole lives. Our parents weren't taught this. They believed in the bogeyman, didn't they? It was always someone else's fault for their well-being. They could drink, 6 buckets of coffee a day, half a bottle of gin, eat half a side of a cow, stuck that up with potatoes, never exercise, hardly drink water, just drink gallons of tea and coffee. Oh, and guess what? When their cells said, look, we can't do this anymore, they blamed it on other people. It's clever, isn't it? It's clever. Folks, if you want some of these, and even better, thank you for all the feedback. I've seen all your comments. I've tried to reply to all of them. For those of you that have got on the super greens, highly alkalizing, folks. This gets rid of the acid. I haven't been ill since 2003. What's that? 22 years now? Makes me chuckle when people say, oh, I'm ill, Chris, and yeah, it's the family's got it. I know that's a nice thing to believe because it takes responsibility off us. Let's just stay in the victim matrix. But give this one a try, folks, and see for yourself. Links are in the comment in the description below for my Amazon shop, and I might make a few pence off you. And as someone said the other day, Amazon's the root of all evil. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. I don't think it's Amazon. I think it's the way it's run, isn't it? Because the cabal are in charge of everything and they're all psychopaths. But the fact is, if I want to do these videos, I have to be able to pay my bills, don't I? Do you know what I'm saying? And I do this. It's a full-time job having a YouTube channel, folks. And it just is. So there you go. Dun dun dun. Right, I got a load of tabs up. I'm not going to talk. I'll just talk you through them. This was an expose on Jerry Springer, or I'd imagine his name was probably Jerry Springsteen, and it was just saying how he gloated at how he had turned the public taste basically demonic through his show. This was the test they did on the mobile phones that showed they couldn't possibly have been used. in New York and Washington 20 years ago in that big event where they said people were phoning home from the aeroplanes. This was an experiment that showed that's not true. George is just pointing out the indiscrepancies here with the Charlie narrative and how Netanyahu had offered Charlie a significant amount of money in the month before his demise, and Charlie Kirk had said, no, thank you. This is what they've done. They've completely redone the area. So rather than preserve the crime scene, because, information can come up in years to come, can't it? No, they've, just like 9/11, they've completely done it over. This guy here is talking about fasting. Absolutely. I'm going to be looking at a minute at the levels of enlightenment, folks. In fact, should we just go to that now? Let's do that now. Right. This is where we all have to pay attention. Stay tuned, folks. If you're the person now that's going to flick away because you'd rather be watching some conspiracy stuff about the shape of the earth or, monkey riding a pig or something, this is literally, you probably need this more than anyone else. On that note, folks, can people like and subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome. And this is it. This is about energy. So when I told you that thing about me in the gym this morning, it's like this. I'm waking up. I'm not checking my phone. I'm not going down that route. Why? Because it immediately ties me to the lower chakras, doesn't it? It ties me to the matrix. It's dragging me back in to those individuals that are asleep, that have blind belief in leadership, that don't know anything, and that obey and that buy stuff. Whereas we want to be out of the matrix, the mind matrix. We want to be practicing gnosis, so we know ourselves, and we know those that seek to harm us, and we take action, because action creates energy, and action comes of positive thinking, and this keeps us out of the matrix. And the way that we stay here is we meditate, or we fast, or we can do breathing exercises. These three things, crucially important. Now, why does that make enlightened people different to, say, people that are awake? Nothing wrong with being awake. It's quite often a stage that people pass through on the way to enlightenment. The sad thing is, and please think carefully if you think this applies to you, a lot of people, I'd say the vast majority, will just park on being awake, because in their ego-centered self, they believe, well, I've made it here now. I know that 9/11 nonsense and that medical bullshit, no one can teach me nothing. This is it, right? Let's go and share a load of angry videos on Facebook, and let's go and have a go at David Icke. True story, folks. The other day someone was there on Facebook having a go at David. Whatever you think of David, right? He's a nice guy. His heart's in the right place. His boys are really lovely to be around. It's a nice family. He's been through absolute hell and back, and he's an incredibly well-informed individual. Personally, I think the old enlightenment thing is something, it's something slightly different, folks. The reason I say that is you got to be careful what you give out. If you want to live the enlightenment kick, you can't loosh energy to others. Therefore, you want to change the world, you want to change your existence, you want a better community for everybody. It's done from within. or at least it starts within. So there's this person on Facebook, and they're having a go at him, and this person's clearly like a scam vid. By scam vid, I'm talking about that nonsense. You know, he's been woken up by that, which isn't a massive thing to be, you know, it's not like a badge of honor, folks. Yes, well done on realizing the world is not a very nice place, and it's not what you thought when you were a child, right? Not rocket science to work this out. And the issue is a lot of these individuals that are newly awake because of the medical stuff, they're really angry still, aren't they? They're angry that they've been rejected. They're angry that it's triggering their childhood trauma that they're not aware of, and they don't know how to heal. They don't understand that, you know, that when mummy and daddy got divorced when they was 8, and daddy was a bit of, you know, he was kind of into himself anyway when he didn't spend a lot of time with you. Or when he did, he was always telling you, that's not good, or be better at that, or don't do that, stupid boy. Right? You haven't worked out yet. That's had an incredibly damaging effect on you. And as a result, you're out there like a whirling dervish in the world, being horrible to bloody everybody. So I dropped a little comment in. I was trying to be nice. I obviously don't get too involved in things online, but I just said, no, David's actually a really nice guy, and so are his lads. The response I got back could only be from a awake person. It wasn't very nice, let's say. And the individual had clearly just assumed that I was some sycophantic fanboy of David's. Not that David's my friend, that he's been on my show, that I'm currently arranging to go up there on his show or the Iconic platform. And that all I'm trying to do is spread the love, because David's just me in another body, as is this lad who's writing the comment. You know, we're all universal energy, where the universe experiences itself subjectively, aren't we? And no need to be having a go at each other. It's not going to help anything. It makes you feel bad. It makes me feel bad. But most of all, it looshes our energy to the dark side. So this is what we've got to be careful of, friends. We haven't got to do anything. This is what I would suggest. Because awake people, they cling to the matrix. They think they're out of the matrix, but they're actually like probably, you know, like not a very good part of it. They're a bad part of its construction, because a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing, hey? It's why they're always complaining, because it's always other people. It's that David Icke, or it's that government. An awake person won't ever do that. So myself, I got up, made the bed, because that's taking action. I thank the universe for this incredible existence called life, because that's gratitude. I got my gym bag. I went down the gym. I used it as a spiritual session. So I was doing some breathing. Getting that beautiful air into your upper lung when you start to feel the energy hitting the pineal and the pituitary. And that was it. I didn't go into my media and my social media beforehand, because how you start your morning will dictate your day. And as a result, I had the best start to the day ever. I've been hyper focused in my work today. I've even, you know, managed to go live, which wasn't planning to do today. I'm able to put out good energy to you guys, or at least I'm doing my best here, folks, you know. And hopefully this energy is going to set you off. Do you see how it works? And yeah, that's it. That's it. So remember, don't loose your energy. And what do I mean by that? There's a couple of definitions of loosing. In Gnostic cosmology, the demiurge is the arrogant, ignorant creator god, often called Yaldabaoth. I can't say that, but who mistakenly believes himself to be the only god and fashions the flawed material universe and bodies as prism for divine sparks, while remaining unaware of the transcendent God above him. So, one school of belief, and just take this what you will, I won't be like dining out on this, I promise you, but it's that there are archons which are kind of non-human, non-physical life forms, and they're out there in the darkness and they're looking at you to give away your energy. And when you give away your energy, they suck it up and they suck more from you, and this can become an ever-decreasing spiral, or it certainly will drag you down to a level where your life doesn't change, and all those things you want to manifest just get further and further away, and you can end up feeling hopeless. And in the veterans community, a lot of veterans commit suicide. On that note, and I didn't mean to do a little sidey thing there, but thanks to everyone who's chipped in a $5. Friends, I'm going to summit Mount Everest in April to highlight the link between childhood trauma and PTSD in adults. This particularly affects the veterans community, and we've got a massive suicide rate, and nobody is talking about this. People are having their energy, their good energy, sucked from them, and they have no idea why. And it often just comes down to simple things: living in the past and living in your ego. Both things just good to get rid of. And living in your ego, folks, this is a difficult one for everyone to understand. It's what it means essentially is when you don't have the ability to reflect on your actions and to realize that they're coming out of your emotions. Or feeding your emotions. That's what it is. It doesn't mean that it's bad to have an ego, or you shouldn't want to do great things on this planet. It's when it controls you and puts you in this negative sort of feedback loop that we've got to be aware. So if you can spare £5 for that, folks, there'll be a link below this in the comment section or in the description box. But this is what we got to be careful of, isn't it? Giving our energy away. So you got to detach from everything that's going to drain it from you. The biggest evil, I'd say social media. Quite ironic considering the platforms that we chat on. Staying in that negative, what we just looked at, being awake, but just staying there and endlessly sharing, here's a chemtrail video, here's a flat earth video, here's this. Instead, get into, enlightenment philosophy, get into the esoteric decoding of scripture to find out what scripture's really saying. Like I say quite a lot, did you know that Israelite is enlightened thought that brings you closer to source and allows you to access the right hemisphere of your brain? It's not a reference to any people. And that escaping Egypt is just talking about you escaping material bondage, crossing the Red Sea. Red is emotion. Water means elevated consciousness. It means that if you want to enter the promised land, you've got to stop your emotions. Stop your emotions from controlling you. And you enter the promised land, and what happens? Your pineal and your pituitary start producing that all-important serotonin and DMT. One's like milk, one's like honey. Hence, you've entered the land of milk and honey, where you sit at the right-hand side of God, which is an allegory for accessing the right hemisphere of your brain. So when Jesus is on the boat, what did he say to his disciples? He says, cast your net on the other side, on the right-hand side of the boat. And they caught how many? 153 fish, wasn't it? And in numerology, that's a code, because numbers are inserted into scripture to let the enlightened ones, the initiates, know this is referring to this is referring to that. So what would 153 be? It'd be 1 add 5 is 6, add the 3 is 9, and 9, as we all know, is the number for human consciousness. So this is a story about awakening. That's all it is. There's no, it's not about boats and fishing. If you love boats and fishing, great, but that's not what this story's about. So there we go. Right, I've got a whole load more stuff, folks, that I wanted to cover, but I'm going to go over. There's some Israel. It's the IDF robbing some poor Palestinians home. I'm going to go over to locals, folks, and do this for my local supporters. There's the link for locals there. This will be a stream for my paying supporters over there, just to say thank you, because I couldn't do any of this if it wasn't for you guys. You've been absolutely awesome. Friends, it's only like £3 a month. It's not, not asking you for a lot of money here. That's like $5 if you're American. If you can support us there, that's great. All the links are below in the description box. You can become a YouTube member, support me on Patreon, or buy me a coffee. And if you support me via locals, you can also GoFund me and PayPal me. But if you support me by locals, folks, then you get the videos that are not sort of for the general public. There we go. Right. Massive thank you to everybody in the chat. It's been flying away. Shall we just say a quick hello as a thank you to you guys? Dun, dun, dun. Yes, come on's on it. It's number 8, as above, so below. Also, the number of infinity, isn't it? Which is as above, so below. If you think about that, the infinite nature of quantum physics, that is. Number 9 is very special. It's also 666, isn't it? 6 add 6 is 12. Add 6 is 18. 1 and the 8 is 9. So higher consciousness is 9, and lower consciousness if you're living in your bestial self, hence the term the beast. Dun, dun, dun. Michael's worried about the Daleks. Mike, just exterminate them, mate. Yes, heaven forbid. Yeah, the Book of Enoch. We'll have to do a scriptural decode on this, because a lot of people believe in, a lot of these things. Just go and look for the number 9 in these scriptures, folks, and you'll go, maybe this isn't a book about extraterrestrials or giants walking on. Maybe there's something very normal here. It's just about how we live our daily life and what goes on inside us when we do. But yes, this comes out of the Nag Hammadi text, doesn't it? The Archons. The Nag Hammadi text is the Gnostic Gospels. So this is how to know. If you go into church, you get brainwashed into how not to know. And you spend your whole life like the woman with a shopping bag with a hole in it. She gets home and it's empty. That's the gospel according to Thomas, which is a Gnostic gospel. So yeah, this is about the knowing. And like I said the other day, I've seen Harvard professors of scripture totally baffled by esoteric scripture, totally looking at it going, this doesn't make sense. Does make sense when you commit to entering the right hemisphere of the brain. Right. Okay. And the last one. Yes, thank you, Pure Lotus. What a beautiful name. 689. Yes. Pure Lotus. Lotus. Is that the flower that sits on top of the dirty water? Isn't that the Buddhist philosophy, is it not? Or Buddhist allegory? It's a flower that rises out of the dirt, out of the material, out of the 3D realm, out of the carbon, to reach for the skies and be beautiful. There you go. Probably just done that to death, haven't I? Or done that to death, rather. Right, my lovelies, let's go over to locals. If you can like and subscribe, that would be absolutely fan-dabby-dozy. That would be brilliant. Don't forget, if you want to come to the Arctic with us, first week in March, it's the same price as a cheap skiing holiday, folks. I'll run you through all of that. Don't worry, send me an email. Send me an email via my website. Don't miss that trip. If you know you need to be on it, just come and talk to me and we'll work out the rest. What I'd say is, if you always go through life going, that's not for me, that's not it. I've never done, I'm very lucky. I've always said, yeah, just put me down for that. I'm going to make this work, whatever. Whether it's running a marathon, running a length of the country, rowing the Atlantic Ocean, climbing Everest in May. It's just, yeah, one life, isn't it, in this set of molecules? We want to experience everything we can. So send me a message. Right, I think I said enough. Much love, legends. Go steady. Remember, look after yourselves. Don't believe the hype.
Morning, legends. I'm Chris Thrall. I'm a former Royal Marines commando. Upon leaving the forces, ended up chronically mentally unwell, self-medicating, undiagnosed trauma, and homeless on the streets of Hong Kong. It was the toughest battle I ever had to fight, but without the support of the medical community, without self-help groups, I learned the answers to rebuild my life and go on to complete a series of extreme charity challenges to send a vital message out there for other veterans who are struggling. I've run the length of the United Kingdom, run across the Sahara Desert, rode across the Atlantic Ocean. Now I'm taking on my biggest challenge yet, climbing Mount Everest. If you can support me, friends, and continue to shine a light for our struggling veterans and let them know that is life after PTSD, I'll put a link below. Can spare a fiver? That's absolutely fine. And let's give our veterans the respect that they deserve. Much love.
No matter